It's time.
All right, here we go.
The Cocktail Show.
Get ready to have a good time.
Let's have a good time.
This is exciting, isn't it?
Yep.
Hello, testing.
Welcome aboard the Dreamliner.
It's the only way to fly.
Wow.
I've allotted 1 hour for recreational activity. There's no time for irrelevant conversation. Fun will now commence.
Cocktail Show.
Gary.
Here's a young speaker who is really in demand.
Don't let that go to your head, Gary.
But wait, there's more.
That's what I'm talking about.
He's Gary Meier.
I'd like an R.
There are 4 of them.
Can I buy an E?
4 E's.
I'd like to solve the Gary Meier Show Cocktail Hour Live.
That's right, Leslie. We're streaming live at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 Central on the February 17th, 2023 edition of The Gary Meier Show Cocktail Hour Live.
Live.
Cocktails. Woo! Drinks.
It's time.
And of course, no matter where you are, it's time for a digital mimosa. As always, the best way to watch this show is the GarrForce Live YouTube channel.
YouTube. Subscribe to the GarrForce Live YouTube channel.
More eyeballs. It's a good thing.
Please like and share the show on all the social media channels. Comments during the live show, wherever we're live streaming, can be seen in our virtual studio. We may show them on the screen and or talk about them. Now, fasten your seatbelts. It's time to go wheels up on the GarrForce Live.
Live.
Come on! Leslie, I'm putting the good karma out there.
Can't we all just get along?
Here we go. Boom. Shakalaka. Yeah, here we are. Welcome, everybody, to the Feb 17 edition of the Cocktail Show. This is year 3 of said show, and we are excited about this one. As Steve Harvey would say, got a good one for you today. I've already notified the affiliates because I'm pretty sure we're going to run late on this one. If you haven't already subscribed to the premium shows, please do that. That's what keeps all this going. Those are lengthier shows twice a week, and you can go to GarryMeier.com and you'll find out where to do that. That's also where you can buy the GarrForce merchandise, the coffee mugs and the t-shirts, and that's on the merchandise section. The Out of My Mind section, that's where I post my blog. The current posting is about boogeymen. It's always some boogeyman that's out there, and you can read about that on my blog. All right. Okay. Well, Leslie, we have to do a couple things here. First of all, I have to kick the tires and light the fires. That's what we do first. But on the Cocktail Show, one more sequence has to happen. And are we ready for that, Alan?
Yeah, we'll go with the montage first, and then we'll go to Leslie.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay. Before that, a medley of all the releases of the wine condom from all of the cocktail shows right here.
Here we go. That's the wrong button. This is the right button. Yeah.
Okay.
Ryan sent me a gift last week, some wine condoms, and I don't exactly know what a wine condom is, so I'm going to open one with y'all today. And there you go.
All right. Hey, yeah. Hey.
And it comes right up.
There it goes. Take the wine. Oh, there it is. She does that. Ooh. Look. There it goes. Oh, pop up. Yeah, there it goes. Go. There. That has never happened.
No.
Oh. Wow.
Where the? Oh no. Another misfire.
But let it fly.
Oh.
And now, number 81. Here it goes. There it goes. There it. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We only had
Good.
2 duds in that whole run, and it was like that movie, The Time Machine, when he pushes the throttle and you go through the seasons and all the other stuff's changing and the condoms are
That's so
flying.
weird.
Wow.
You know, I realized there I'm gonna have to change up a couple of my outfits. Apparently, there are a few shirts that I like better than the others because they made multiple appearances. But you know, I don't get the big budget for my costumes like they do, or my work attire like they do on TV. So
Well, and
Okay.
every
I'm
one
no
of those,
Vanna
Leslie,
White.
every one of those, Leslie, is at least a week after the last one. So we assume they've all been laundered, right?
Right. I mean, it's not like
Oh, absolutely.
I had a math teacher in high school. We counted. She wore the same outfit, I think, for 62 consecutive classes. You're not like that. Don't worry about it.
Could
You're
she
not.
use some Lumi?
Okay. We got into a Lumi discussion before we went on. And I just want to add on here, as far as your wardrobe budget, you're not Kelly Ripa. And I'm mentioning Kelly Ripa because I watched a little bit of this Kelly Ripa show this morning. Oh my God. You know, this is the news. And it was all over social media that Ryan Seacrest is leaving and Kelly's husband is going to take over. And the husband was on today and they were talking about the transition, and Ryan teared up and they acted like they were reinventing smoke. It's just the husband taking over this high paying job. And you couldn't believe the dialogue unless you saw it about what this was to all of them and what they've accomplished. And Mark, the husband of Kelly, was so happy the way Ryan treated his wife over the years. Like, Ryan's got 15 fucking jobs and he's given one up. The husband's going to make a fortune, and now they have a 2-income family that can drive to work together. Why did they even pick Ryan when they could have had the husband 6-7 years ago?
To begin with. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, think of all the thousands and thousands of kids in communications schools across the nation who are longing for this opportunity and this one little show, and they give it to the chick's husband instead.
Right.
Come on.
Or Ryan, who has 15 other jobs. It makes you want to do it.
And he got teared up.
He teared up. Oh, but what are you're leaving this show of making 10, 15 million to make, I guess, a little more time for your other show. I don't know. It was
and
ridiculous.
That's it. He's walking down the hall to another studio for one of his other 47
Pretty
jobs.
much.
So,
Pretty much. In fact, when he was doing this show, I noticed a few times he had fallen asleep because he has to travel from LA to New York every other day. And they just would pin his check on his shirt. Ryan, hello, huh? And I was almost ready to do an Elvis where you would shoot the television because you can't believe what you're seeing. Yeah, that's what Elvis would do.
So do you think they called Steve Harvey first, though, to see?
Right.
Hey,
Steve, you got any openings? We could use you on this one. I guess.
I don't know. Give Michael Strahan a call. Maybe he needs a job.
He's not doing anything this week. I guess in front of Elvis's house, Graceland, there would be 10, 15 TVs out at the curb with a bullet hole in them every week. I didn't see that in the movie. They should have had that where Elvis would shoot the TV. That would have been great. Okay, we've got a lot to do here, and I got to start by saying hello to people who have checked in the comments section. Well, there she is. First one in, Kellyanne, I'm sorry. I posted a good one about the Puppy Bowl last week, but it was missed. This week, according to Urban Dictionary, I'll be walking the schnauzer, and we had to look that up. Before we get to what that is, she did check in, but if she checks in too early, it gets bounced out and she won't be in. And Alan didn't catch it, so I wrote it down. I'm ready for the Puppy Bowl. Coach can't decide if my schnauzer is a wide receiver or a tight end. I prefer bareback. I mean, fullback. That was last week in conjunction with the Puppy Bowl and the Super Bowl. I just hope she didn't have a muffed punt. Okay. All right, let's go to who's checked in. I got Martin from British Columbia, Lloydster, and there's a lot of schnauzer referrals as you go down the comment section. Lloydster, he's happy to walk Kellyanne's schnauzer. And what is the urban legend on that?
Urban Dictionaries, it's exactly what you would think about. It is a woman becoming the master of her own domain.
Okay.
That's
what she means. And then Loyster, the listeners, the viewers, they're so good to each other. He would be happy to walk it for her.
Aw.
Isn't that nice?
People
Charles
helping
from
people.
WRLR, snuggle with your schnauzer tonight. Okay. David R has checked in. I hope everyone gave the schnauzer extra special love and attention on Valentine's Day. Hello from Oak Lawn, Illinois. And David Erickson, my schnauzer likes dunk his dry food into his water bowl. Okay.
He's got an actual schnauzer. Wait a minute. That my mic
Wow,
is
what?
blown.
Mike
You mean a
and
dog?
Pat from Alabama, cold there, petting the schnauzer. Good. Dale from Wheatfield, Illinois. I believe that's in Illinois, right?
I think
Okay,
so.
the field of wheat. Samantha from Mundelein, Illinois, checking in. Marianne, hello, how are you? And Anthony, how are you? Elizabeth, Illinois.
From Elizabeth. Oh.
Okay. And Matt.
Illinois represent.
Yeah. From, all right, Arizona, checking in. Queen Creek, AZ. Martini Friday, the holiest of all Fridays is upon us. Yes, it is. The Friday before Mardi Gras. And Stick Save from Tinley Park, Illinois, home of Bettenhausen Automotive. He's checking in. He checks in every week. Stick Save, hello. Glad to see you there. Scott. Stick Save, all right. All right. Scott, yeah, Denny Laine coming up in the second half hour of Moody Blues and Wings fame. I'll talk to Denny. Jenna is coming up in just a few minutes. Ryan, the Wisconsin reporter, he's here. Oh my God, how did he's here? Ryan will be up too. And I'm going to go to the screen door.
Yes.
How do I?
No.
I don't even have the right
Yes, go to the
place.
screen door. No, you've got it upside down.
I don't even have the right side. Okay, Brian. That's Brian from. You've met Brian. Oh, yes.
I have. Well, in the flesh this week. It was very cool. Oh, yes is the name of the band. They've got a gig coming up tomorrow, February 18th at Sundance Saloon in Mundelein. Show starts at 8 p.m. And and it's his birthday beside. Happy birthday, Brian. I saw that on Facebook, but according to Facebook, Brian was born in 1920, which makes this his 103rd birthday. So congratulations, sir.
Love
he
that
doesn't
Facebook.
look a day over 97.
Love Facebook. They are just good people. Ro, hey, thanks. She mentions Roast to Order coffee because she's a big fan of that. Yes, Mike Maskow's company, and we all love that coffee. Marianne, Doug, and Don from Tennessee, Walter from Milwaukee. Yeah, hey. All right. Okay. This is, as you probably know, the home of the kissing schnauzers. All right. Woo. That's what we love. All right. Kim and D say hey from DeKalb, Illinois. Here for our listening pleasure. Your listening pleasure. All our listening pleasure. Cindy. Manhattan is just too strong, apparently, with how you're handling that screen door. Yeah, I can't even open a damn screen door after a couple sips of the Manhattan. I've only had, I still have most of it. I'm not going to, no. I got a long show to get through here. Cheers.
And even though commando, I mean, pacing. It's all about the pacing.
What wine? Did you mention the wine you're drinking?
It's a Toad Hollow. It's a medium priced Chardonnay, and it's got, cute little toad right there.
Nice.
Go figure.
How is it? Good?
Tasty.
All right.
Refreshing.
All right. Okay, every month we have alcohol, the cause and solution to all of life's problems. You might be doing a dry 100. You're doing the first 100 days where there's no alcohol. More power to you. Maybe you did a dry January. Well, it's February. We're not subscribing to much of any of that. That's why we have the official bartender of the GarrForce on every month, Jenna Duddleston. Hello, Jenna.
Guys, how are you?
Good.
Leslie, I was laughing really hard because every time you popped the condom, you have the same face. every single time.
Well,
Like
A
it
butterface? Yeah.
but it's
Obviously, my life is so effing boring that
it's
a piece
a face of
rubber
wonder.
coming out
That's
the
why you do that, because you
No.
can't believe. Oh my God, look at that!
They-
Oh.
I mean, it
You
really is
should see me at a
the strangest
fireworks
thing.
show. I like
Oh.
they have to bring out
You're right.
the paddles.
Oh my God.
So simple things. That's
Simple
all
things.
life is.
Yeah. Simple pleasures, simple condoms, simple wine condoms just bring you happiness, Leslie, and that's okay.
That's
Boy, it seems.
what did we learn, Gary, from our friend Jim, who you worked with at I don't need to mention the station, but in the past we set our expectations
Lower. Like this former colleague, Jim Ramsey, may he rest in peace, he said the best way to go through life, lower expectations, and the man was right. You set them too high, you're constantly, I didn't achieve, I'm depressed, we're here to have a good time. And that's what we're going to try to achieve. And every month, Jenna comes in with a drink. I can't believe how fast these months are going. It seems like
I know.
go, I've got 2 Fridays left in February. I got to pick one for her if she can do it. And she said this Friday, and here she is. Thank you.
When you texted me, I was like, wasn't I just on? And
I
then
know.
I was like, I'm like, oh, February is a quick month. I forget. Like it's already the 17th, which just seems bananas to think about.
Yeah. And March 1st is meteorological spring. We're only 10 days away from spring then.
Cool. That's a lie.
Oh, well, no, I'm going to go psychologically. I'm taking that. I need that.
Realistically, I'm not.
Okay, but still. But it makes more
will.
It's cleaner that way. March, April, May, spring, June, July, August, summer. And it starts on the 1st. It's solid that way. I don't want this the 21st. I like it clean. That's clean.
Clean. Yeah. I will say, in Chicago, we've had a very mild winter considering the snow that, came yesterday, but it's gone. Like my entire deck was covered in snow. And I woke up this morning and I was like, it's gone.
Well, the sun
It's
is
completely
getting
gone.
stronger.
I know.
And we're marching out. We've broken the kneecaps of winter. I think we've broken at least one thumb of winter. We'll break another thumb maybe next week. And then the back of winter will be broken on March 1st. That's official. Here's the thing. St. Patrick's Day is on a Friday. And I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves here, but I can't imagine you're going to be able to do anything on St. Patrick's Day with the bar and everything your family has, right?
Probably not. I'll most likely be working that day. That's a week-long celebration because of the way that the parade day falls. We celebrate always the downtown parade day too. So it's always the Saturday before St. Patrick's Day. So this year with it being on I think it's the 11th it falls on. So we get to celebrate a whole week. But realistically, come March 1st, I'll be celebrating St. Patrick's Day the whole month. It's great.
Because your bar is on the south side of Chicago, and that has a very large Irish population.
Yep.
Need we say more?
No, not really. It's pretty self-explanatory at that point. You mix a bar, St. Patrick's Day, and the Irish together, and it's pretty stereotypical of what you think is going to happen happens.
In fact,
do you do green beer?
No.
Good.
All right.
No.
That's
your teeth get your teeth get green, your tongue gets green. It's just really awkward. Like
the only thing you want green is the cash register.
Correct. That's the only green. That's the only green that I will be working with.
For those of you not familiar with Chicago, they used to have a parade outside of the official Chicago parade downtown. They would have a parade on the south side of Chicago that was organized by this area. And over the years, it got so out of hand, they had to stop it for a while. And a friend of mine would tend bar at one local bar, and he said, you get 12 and 14-year-olds coming in for a drink and thinking this is okay because we're Irish and nobody cares.
It's the Southside Parade stopped, I mean, like maybe a decade ago, but it started back up. And I remember I was supposed to go to the parade on COVID. And that I was like, well, I'm still going. Like, I don't got work the next day, but it was sad not having it. But now that it's back in full swing, it just feels right. Everything feels right.
But it's not as crazy, right? They've put
it's still crazy,
guardrails.
Gary.
Is it?
It's still crazy.
I thought they put some guardrails on it.
I mean, just because you put a chain on a dog doesn't mean it's not gonna like do some shit.
That's what my bumper sticker says.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
That's
I'll
some
buy
deep
that.
stuff, man.
All right, so where are we? Anthony says, do you make a good black and tan beer?
Yes. Black and tan is any type of ale, or Pilsner that you want, and then you just top it off with Guinness. And the trick is, hold on, you gotta get.
I love when she schools us.
You got to get a fancy spoon, and then the way that it drips into it, it just falls off of the spoon. So half of it is black and the other half is tan. So black and tan, and it's delicious.
All right.
It's good stuff.
That's the way I was described when I would go to Hawaii and put on that Clinique bronzer. I'd come out to the pool. My God, he's black and tan. I put it on so thick. But really, I really looked like another race. And that's
like the copper tone baby.
I wanted to be, but then I didn't realize the first time when I got in the pool, my tan was floating on the top of it. Or if I didn't wash it off before I went to bed, it was the Shroud of Turin in my bed. The whole outline. I think I had a murder scene. My whole outline was in the bed. All right. Well,
oh gosh.
That happens.
Oh, Garry.
So, what have you put together for February?
So last time I was on, I basically asked everyone what kind of drink they wanted, and the majority answer was chocolate based. So I wanted to make you guys a strawberry chocolate martini if you are still celebrating Valentine's Day, or if you just want to get drunk and have an adult milkshake by yourself, that is fully acceptable too. So you're going to take your shaker, and the first thing that we're going to do is you're going to take a strawberry and place it on in, okay? We're going to muddle it. Okay, Garry, I know you always enjoy my tools.
Ryan sent me a muddle after you did it the first time.
Go. And we're basically just breaking this down to get the juices from the strawberry in there, okay? Next, we're going to take some gorgeous chocolate syrup, okay? We're going to do half an ounce of it. It's a little thick, I'm not even going to lie, but God, it looks so good. I don't even care. All right, then little half and half, okay? You can do cream, you can do milk, you can do oat milk, you can do whatever the hell you want, just some type of milk base, okay? We're going to do an ounce of that. Pour it on in. Okay, and this is where it gets fun. I think every person should have this in their at-home bar. Godiva White Chocolate Liqueur. It's a really simple liquor that you can add into any drink, and it just adds so much flavor to it. Definitely something that I always have in my house. Okay, we're going to do 2 ounces of this guy because I love it so much, and it is so damn good. Just brings me so much joy.
That in some roast order coffee could probably be pretty damn tasty.
Very tasty.
What's the alcohol content in that chocolate liqueur?
Alcohol content is
that like strong stuff or
15.
No, not strong
15%.
stuff.
All right, I'll drink to that.
Yep.
Drink to that. All right. And then we'll do good old ounce, maybe a little bit more of vodka, okay? Don't tell anyone.
Wow.
All right, then take your ice, and we're going to shake it up. God, it's like, I wish you guys could smell it because it smells so good. All right, shake it. All right, there we go. Bring your little martini glass back. If you want to get fancy, which I always suggest, you can put a little chocolate drizzle on the inside. Not needed, but again,
that's a good clown name.
Decorative.
Chocolate drizzle. I like that.
Decorative. All right. We pour it on in.
Boy, you know that's going to taste wonderbar.
Oh my God, it's so good. So good. So good. I got a you.
Oh.
All right.
And do you have a special name for that? Just a chocolate martini? Any fancy name? And if you go to your bar, you ask for chocolate martini and you get that?
Chocolate strawberry martini. Give me a heads up on it because we don't always have the supplies. But if you let me know you're coming, I'll make sure it's there.
That's
and then you
what's the name of the bar again?
Shinnick's. Shinnick's Pub.
Hey, hello, Shinnick's. May I help you? Yeah, I'm coming over and I want a chocolate martini with a strawberry. So if you could have all the ingredients. Okay.
Exactly. And then you just add a little strawberry for garnish and there you have it.
Oh, that's sweet.
Dirty. That is nice. And Jenna has her own podcast called Bar Talk, and she's very good at all that. So if you want to check out drinking more than we even do,
Mhm.
There's her podcast.
Oh God, I really want you guys to taste this right now.
I know.
I really wanted to.
I wish I could like send it through the screen. Like that's what I want. I want to send it to the screen through to everyone who's listening and watching because it's so good.
Just want to rub it all over my face.
You know, we've got the green screen things going these days. Smell-o-vision coming to you next year. I'm predicting
I hope
that
so.
We're ready for it.
Well, here's what happened when we were preparing. We had a discussion about this deodorant called Lumi. And then Jenna popped in and said, "What's that?" And we started to explain it, and it all went into a frenzy of a discussion of, oh my God, as Leslie was reading the reviews of this, and almost none of them were good.
No.
And the commercial is the woman who invented it, and that is kind of off-putting. She raises her arms and she's putting it under her arm, and then she points to her nether regions and for the bifold, and then she turns around and put it in the butt crack. And I'm, oh, geez. It's the same thing as showing somebody eating food, a tight shot of their mouth when they're eating food. The orifices have to be kind of stand back.
Yeah.
In that case.
Subtlety. Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of like Febreze. We know what you're talking about, but present it delicately, if you would, please. Although they had one about stinking up the downstairs bathroom, so that.
Yeah, really.
There's ways to say it without saying it. It's like we know what poopery is. It's a very elegant way of putting it in the bathroom at the family party, and you know it. Nothing needs to be said. It's just there, and you know it, and no one has to say anything. But ladies,
speaking of that kind of stuff, Ro, who I was talking about in the comment section, she had mentioned the roast to order candle that she got, and Leslie's been using it. We got one and lit that thing up, and oh my God, you like an aroma of coffee, fresh coffee, that does the trick.
Oh, yeah.
So put that in the bathroom and be happy, or use animated characters like the toilet commercial for the is it Charmin? What's the one that uses
for the bears? Yeah,
the bears.
Yeah,
South Bears.
Use cartoons because they don't look as offensive when they do it. You know what they're doing.
Rub it, you put it on.
Right. This one, I put it in my arms and I turn around.
And I'm a doctor with really mediocre bedside manner.
Right.
Right. Yeah, there's something about her that's.
Right. She says it lasts 2 to 3 days. Wow. Okay.
Some people are saying you have to apply it 2 to 3 times a day. Yeah.
What's that? Wait, she said in the commercial lasts 2 to 3 days. You're saying the reviews were.
You have to put it on 2 to 3 times a day in order for it to work effectively.
Yeah.
Unless you're super stinky,
then what's the difference between my regular deodorant? I'm already putting it on twice.
Yeah, okay.
How about a little hygiene? Yeah. And a lot of this really isn't that.
Here's what you do. You get in the shower and you take the towel and you wet it and you twirl it, and then you do a how's your father?
Gary, right? I don't know if you folks realize, but Gary invented the floss dance.
Yeah, okay. Based on the how's your father. Didn't Mike Myers, was that a Mike Myers routine in one of the movies? Doesn't he do a how's your father?
I believe
that feels like that has to be something from Austin Powers.
Right, exactly.
Gold member.
Yeah, baby. And you're done.
Yeah.
There, you got the floss and you've done it. Okay. What kind of creator made us like this? Think about this. Think about all the things that are going on here. It's a joke. It's a total joke. Really.
Oh, Lordy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Jenna, thank you. We will talk to you next month. And her bar is open for biz on the south side of Chicago if you're in that area. All good. All good. All right. We are going to talk to Ryan now because we're making way for the visit with Denny Laine. I taped the piece with Denny about a week ago because he's on tour. In fact, he's in Chicago. If you're in the Chicago area, he's at the Chicago City Winery on Sunday, if you'd like to go see him perform. And Ryan, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. If you want to put the picture up, Alan, I have loaded there. This will summarize the last 24 hours in Waukesha. Someone posted that on Facebook. There it is.
All right.
Snow in a convertible, only in Waukesha.
All right. I don't care about no stinking snow. Wow.
Or it's just broken.
Yeah, or it could just be broken. So
right.
So
still got to get to work, man.
Another day to walk.
a little bit of snow, and we're still bowling. So I have an update in our my report on the bowling, how that's going.
Okay, why don't we run the Wisconsin report? Yeah, hey. It's Wisconsin, yeah, hey.
Hey, it's Ryan from Wisconsin. I have a few things to share with you this week. Here at the GarrForce, we like our inflatables. The bigger, the better. Bring them on. Well, if you were in Madison, there was a festival on the lake, Lake Mendota, that featured a 30-foot Lady Liberty. It's part of the festival that's been going on since 1979. So you can maybe do a little bit of ice fishing, some carnival games, and stand around and admire the big inflatable. We see celebrities starting to diversify and getting into different businesses, liquor, marijuana. Well, Scottie Pippen, yes, Scottie Pippen from the Chicago Bulls was in town debuting his new bourbon whiskey. It's called Digits. And a quote from him, he says, "I've been a long-time drinker. Why not get into the business of selling liquor?" So hundreds of customers gathered in a local liquor store in Wauwatosa to see Scottie Pippen and buy some of his whiskey bourbon. If you've been following the last few weeks, I've been talking about Hank bowling, and he has to get 100 to get himself a bowling ball. Well, this past weekend, he went bowling and got 103. So that meant Monday, we went to the local pro shop. He got size for a ball. You can see here in the picture, and that's a picture of his ball. It's kind of an aquamarine color. So now he anticipates with bated breath when it's going to come in. Hopefully it'll be Tuesday, and we'll be all set. I'll keep you in the loop on how he does this weekend bowling with his new ball. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.
Speaking of Scottie Pippen, I heard that Michael Jordan turned 60 today.
Yep.
Yes.
That seems
How did that happen?
weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's I like these time markers. Think about this. The OJ murders were 30 years ago.
Wow.
30.
Wow.
What the hell's going on?
I remember where I was. I was in Hawaii when that was all going on.
No, you never forget, Ryan.
No.
That's one of those moments. You don't remember where you were when Kennedy was assassinated, right?
No, I don't. I was not here.
That's why. Yeah. That's why.
Me
you don't
either.
remember.
Oh my God, that is so funny.
Yeah, me, I don't either. I heard
Yeah.
tell.
Yeah.
Right.
Some older relatives reported
Right.
it to me, but yeah.
I start with the John Lennon assassination. That's where I start.
Ryan left out a key part of that bowling ball fitting. Wasn't there a guy there getting fitted for his ball while Hank was getting his?
Yes, there was a guy next to Henry.
And
what does that mean?
I don't remember. I don't remember the name.
He only had one finger.
Oh,
right?
yes,
It was like one
yes.
finger Willie or something.
Yes, he had a shirt that said one finger Willie, and he only had one finger on one hand.
Well, he'll save on the drill of the ball, right? He just has to have one.
I couldn't
hole.
remember the name, but that's what it is. Yes, because Hank was like
His palm has to be like a suction cup.
Well, a lot of the times they bowl now when they just grab the ball like this and swing it and throw it. They don't even put their hands in there.
Well, I don't blame them if you're using the bowling alley's balls, because that's the same thing as the payphone in the day when the coin went down in the coin return and you pull it down to the coin and put your finger. There's Google in there. Think of all the fingers that have been in those holes. That's what she said. And then you have your own ball. You don't have to worry about that. But wow.
And they don't spray the stuff like they do with the shoes on the balls. You know,
you
get those bad rental shoes.
Right.
They always spray the goop in
Right.
them.
Right. You think they take the balls every night and put something in there and clean them, much like the snorkels at pools that you rent.
Where's Ron Jeremy?
Yeah, Ron Jeremy's waiting in line to pick up a snorkel that you're going to wear about an hour and a half later. Oh,
yeah. So Hank was all like, "Why does he only have one finger? How does that work?" And I said, "Just size your ball and get home."
Okay, that's good advice. Rose said, I know this is weird, but I have this hang up on these things. John Benet Ramsey would be 33 this year.
Wow.
If she wasn't murdered when she was, 7?
Did they ever figure out who did that? No.
5. No, I don't think they've ever solved that. That's another one. How weird was that? If you remember that case.
Although wasn't the last best guess was that it was her brother, and they said unequivocally no, that was
no,
not the
they
case.
put him through all of it, and the mother's dead, and
the mom, and yeah,
right. and all that. They checked all that out. Okay, enough of that. This is the whole passage of time that I was alluding to with Jenna, where it's February and then it's going to be March, and we'll be here in August going, Jesus, what the half the year's more than gone. And yeah. All right. This is what I say after 50. It's like you're having breakfast every 50,
every
15 minutes. I want to say it's 50, but it's 15.
It is.
Yeah.
So
okay. And we're just shooting shit out of the sky. We're just sending planes up. And now it's just like a carnival game. We don't even know we're shooting to shoot it down. We don't know what it is.
Somebody pointed out that one of those inflatables was probably a balloon put up by a bunch of hobbyists who put a GPS tracker on it, and then they just like to see where the balloon is floating at any given time. Mind you, they used a $400,000, either $400,000 or $700,000 missile to shoot down a $12 balloon. So yeah, everything makes perfect sense.
Don't those jets have a pointer on the front, on the nose? Can't they just get close and prick it?
And pop it. Yeah, there you go.
Like we used to do as kids, take the needle and just pop the balloon.
Yes. A whole missile.
See, but then it would go all over the place and it'll land on a school.
They should just send the army around and shoot up all the inflatables during Christmas. And now you mentioned in your report, this is spreading now. Now there's a statue of
Lady Liberty.
Lady Liberty. They're going to have this all year for different yard stuff. This is out of control.
And it said they've been doing it for a while. It said 1979. I thought, wow, you had inflatables back then?
Yeah.
When everything was still in black and white. The entire world was. Didn't they have a big giant ice festival in Lake Geneva that had to be called on account of it was
3 days. 3 days. It was up for the ice castles that you could usually was up months and 3 days.
It was only up 3 days, usually up months.
Yeah.
Oops.
So
no problem. Everything's fine. Nothing to see here.
Nothing's here. Move on.
That's why we have put this together, because we're not buying any of this. There's meaning to life, and you have to look for no, this is it. So enjoy, and that's what we're doing. Right?
And soon it'll be magnet fishing time.
Magnet fishing, and I'll get the dune buggy out and the kite flying, and that picture of Hank where he's got all the bling on, and his rap name is with this new bowling Lil Baller. Lil Baller.
Nice.
There he is. There he is.
All right.
So Garry, do you wait till meteorological spring to bring out the white belt and shoes, or do you wait until Memorial Day?
That's still Memorial Day.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very set on that.
Got it.
I'm old school that way. Yeah, white belt, white shoes, white pants.
Oh yeah.
And dark underwear, and then when it rains.
VPL. You got it.
Yeah.
And then you come home and read the paper in your suit, right? You get your suit and tie on.
Right, just like Hugh Beaumont and Leave It to Beaver. Sit there with the jacket buttoned as I'm reading the paper after work. What the? And we bought that as, that's the way life is in America.
And June had her high heels on, right?
High heels, vacuuming, earrings, pearl necklace, vacuuming. We want to think America was like that. It was never really like that, but that was what the image was that went out. There she is. That's our flag. Don't get close to us. We'll shoot your ass down. Okay, I want to take care of the fine sponsors, and I know Mike Maskow, the proprietor of Roast to Order Coffee and Tea, is in the mix, and he sent me some new information about what he is offering. If you want to put that in the comment section too, he has all kinds of stuff that he likes to offer for you, the viewer, and it saves you money on buying this coffee that he has and the tea. Let's see, I forgot the Coffee of the Month Club. People sign up every month, get something different. We switch it up, and it's great. And you got light, medium roast packages in the club, the medium dark roast, all non-flavor roasts, and a flavored roast of the month club. And you can sign up for 3, 6, 9, 12 months and get discounts. That's where you go for all that. The candle. And if you take that cat off your lap, Leslie, I'll be happy to do whatever.
Angus makes an appearance. Hello,
There
bud.
it is. There it is. So it's all good. Roasttoorder.com for coffee and tea, organically grown. You know we love it. We love it. And Mike is a good guy. Okay, Bettenhausen Automotive, Alan. I think we're ready for that.
One nation with wheels and deals for all at Bettenhausen Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram in Tinley Park. Right now during the President's Day sales event, get $4,500 total cash on a new 2023 Jeep Grand Cherokee or lease for only $299 per month. Lease a new Ram 1500 Bighorn for $409 per month. Get them while you can. Lease a new Dodge Charger or Challenger, your choice, for $439 per month. Your best car buying experience starts now at BettenhausenCDJR.com.
Yeah, muscle cars. That's America right there. Okay. And David Hochberg, really good guy for your mortgage, refi, veterans loan, reverse mortgage, all that. And he's doing a fundraiser to get bulletproof vests for Chicago cops, because that's what David does. In addition to this great work he does with David Hochberg and Associates, Team Hochberg, he helps the community, and that's what he's doing now. And I've had him on the show talking about that, and you can go to his website and I'm sure find out more information. And if you're looking for that mortgage refi, go get the free consultation and see what they can do for you, because they're going to help you out, save you money if you like saving money. All right. Okay, we're going to visit with Denny Laine. Denny Laine. Thank God I pre-recorded this, because yeah. I got a lazy tongue, or is it inebriated? I don't know.
Yeah, it's super lazy.
All right, let's talk with Denny. My guest tonight is musician extraordinaire Denny Laine, and instead of rolling out his whole portfolio right at the beginning, I thought we'd unpack it as we go. Welcome, Denny. How are you?
How are you, Gary? Good, thanks.
Good. All right. I have spent a little time with you over the years, and when I'm in the car and a Wings song comes on, they put the album cover on the screen, I see your face and I think, oh, cool. I've talked to this man. And I think about the song and when it came out, and then the moments of my life start to come out and I relive those moments. I want to know, when you hear your music on whatever platform, do you have a vivid memory of recording those songs, of what was going on around those songs? What do you feel when you're driving along and one of your songs comes on?
Yeah, more or less I do. I mean, I definitely remember the Band on the Run. You know, it's whatever's played, the Moleskine Tire, you know, some of them I do and some of them I don't, but those two particularly get played a lot. So, yeah, sure, that brings back a lot of memories.
Yeah, and the background is you in 1963 already were involved with what would become the Moody Blues, and also interfacing with the Beatles at that time. Is that correct?
Yeah, we were friends with the Beatles. We did their second British tour, actually. So we're friends right from the beginning. I mean, that's how I got the call from Paul, because he wanted to work with somebody he knew, you know.
And he was familiar with your work, and when it came to forming another band, you were top of mind with him.
Yeah, something like that. It had to be that, because I don't think he wanted to start out again with somebody he didn't know. So, you know, that's why.
So tell me about your first moment in the rock spotlight as far as the song Go Now. You're the lead on that, and it's a huge hit, 1964. The Beatles are on Ed Sullivan in 1964. In fact, this is the 59th anniversary this month of their appearance on Ed Sullivan. I assume that Ed Sullivan was not available in England. How did you hear about the performance? What were your thoughts at that point?
Well, it's a bit vague for me, but we were supposed to do the Ed Sullivan show, but our visas didn't come through. So we were in New York doing the Murray the K show. That's about it, really. I was at John's house after the Shea Stadium show. He was showing me the footage of that. That era, you know, we were friends with him. We had parties and going out to see American bands that came into town, all that sort of thing. So we kind of got together that way. That's how we first became friends.
20 years old and you have a #1 song. What's that like?
Well, we were on the Chuck Berry tour at the time, and because of that, live audiences, saw us, and it went up the charts at that time. So obviously, yeah, we're at the height of. We've been working together for about 3 years, and we're at the height of our success trail, if you like. And yeah, it was all pretty hectic and fantastic because we never ever realized that we would be there. Who knew? You can't plan these things, but it was great.
Right, and then the Beatles hit America, and that opens the floodgates for a lot of these British acts to come over here. And as I heard Paul say many years ago, getting to America was the biggest thing you can do. That's the biggest arena, and that was on all of your minds back in the early 60s?
Oh, yeah, because we grew up on American music. Well, we had folk, we had all that stuff, we had traditional English music, but we basically were listening to Radio Luxembourg, which was the American Forces Network in Germany, and we listened to all the music that was being sent to them. So that's what we took, and we kind of tried to copy it. Eventually used it as influences to write our own material, because you don't want to go through life copying everybody. So that's what it morphed into. But it was all basically, watching American television as kids and stuff like that. So we were sort of enamored by the American scene, for sure, and always wanted to come here. Yeah, because we wanted to meet our heroes like anybody else,
Shortly after Go Now became a hit, you left the Moody Blues. And was that a decision you look back at and think, maybe I shouldn't have? What were your thoughts at that point?
No, I never think like that. Anyway, they went on to do very good things afterwards, and so did I. I never think that. Well, the fact is, I had a few other things going. I had a solo album I wanted to tour. We had an album after the Go Now thing, so we had quite a while before I actually walked away. But I didn't, I didn't really walk away. I went to promote a new solo album I was working on in the meantime, that kind of thing. And yeah, that's it. I've just kind of moved on, and then they moved on into what they did, and look at how success they got out of it. So, we all ended up happy in the end. So it didn't do anybody any harm,
Was there a lot of pressure to crank out hits because the Beatles were putting out an album every 6 months? And did you feel that pressure when you were then faced with, hey, how we follow Go Now? What were your thoughts?
No, it's not pressure exactly. You learn as you go. It's not. But we put the pressure on ourselves in the sense that we set our own standards that we want to go for. We don't want to be part of the machine too much, by being governed by the record labels and whatever. We kind of had all our own people. We didn't use their people so much. We kind of guided our own careers in a way. But that's what it was. It was a creative experience. It wasn't just the music. It was just the whole thing of being young in those days. And there's millions of bands around all doing the same thing. We used to do a lot of doubles with bands like the Yardbirds and Jeff Beck and Rod Stewart and bands like that, where we would be, on the same bill and all sort of bouncing off each other with ideas and stuff and friendly competition. But it wasn't pressure. It was just the fact that all bands were like that even before we had any success. You always wanted to blow somebody else off the stage. It's what it's all about. So, you just want to improve, and you're open-minded and open-hearted to do that when you're young and coming up the ladder. It was all about that.
You get the call in the early 70s that Paul is putting another band together. And as you mentioned, he was familiar with your work. He liked your work. And you join up with him, and you're spending time now at his farm in Scotland. Yeah. And what is that all like when you're looking at a guy who's had the biggest musical experience on the planet, and now that's behind him? He's around 30 years old, and that's a shadow that he's either going to have to deal with, or he put that aside. What were the conversations like on how he wanted to move forward?
Well, the only conversations were based on the fact that we didn't want to do a Beatles show and we didn't want to do a Moody Blues show. We wanted to do original stuff and put that in the past. You know, I mean, you can't reproduce that. It's not like we're a tribute band or anything. No offense, guys, but you know, we wanted to move into new creative fields, and it was because of that and the fact that we knew each other really well that we just moved forward very easily. It wasn't hard work. I'm sure when he was up there on his own, he was looking to do something, you know, live. So he wanted to put a band together, and that's how you do it. But bands take a while to get good. It doesn't matter who you are. It takes a while. You know, got to remember we all came from backgrounds where we grew up with the same, you know, areas and the same people. So for quite a while, and that's how we got good. And the Beatles obviously did it with Hamburg and Liverpool, and we did it with Birmingham. But yeah, so we had to start again in that sense. But because we were influenced by the same music, we could just jump into anything because of that. You see, it was easy because of that. So yeah, and he kind of got me into a bit more recording experience. He got me into more songwriting, and that's really what I'm doing on this tour now. Is just going out and, you know, showing people what I did as a songwriter, including writing with Mike Pinder from the Moody's and writing with Paul. That was my sort of introduction to songwriting, and now I'm going out and doing stuff that people haven't even heard, you know, new stuff or stuff from my old solo albums, and it goes down well. So it's like I'm really enjoying it from that point of view, that you don't have to live off your past, you know. See what I mean?
And this tour you're doing now is through this month, and it's you solo acoustic.
Yeah. And just that, how the songs were written, in the basic form, and people like that. You know, it's you have like a closeness with the audience. It's not like when you're in an arena, a stadium. You have this closeness, and that's how we kind of grew up anyway. We were in small places, and we used to, you know, bounce backwards and forwards with whatever, and the audience might shout out the song, and you have a go at it, and things like that. So it's more like being in your own living room. Sometimes it's like being at a party, and you just pick a guitar up, and people ask you, you know, and then you explain what the song's all about, how it came about, and whatever. And always the story is a little bit similar, but there again, I get reminded of things that I'd forgotten about just by the audience asking a question. So, but I stick to more or less one set, and then I move it around with other stuff that requests, if you like. So it's really good fun. I love it. It's going down really well.
To dovetail that thought about arenas and playing to smaller audiences, when Wings first came together, you all got in a van and went around to universities and just showed up and said, "Hey, would you like us to play for you?" Right? That's what it started to be.
Well, that was Paul's idea.
You got your chops down that way.
Yeah, because you had to. You couldn't start at you don't start at the top. I mean, it's like any band. You want to rehearse. It's a live rehearsal, but you don't want the press scrutinize you and criticizing whatever. So it was Paul's idea to do that. And it was getting us back out on a stage and seeing what the audience reaction was like, and they accept you, you know, for what you were and what you've done, but they also respect you because you're doing something new again, and they can see that it's building up to something else, and it did, and he got to that point where, you know, we got really tight, and although we went through different band members, we still had that experience of touring and making, you know, more albums and recordings at our own leisure and in our own way. I mean, you know, Band on the Run was an example of just going to a place where an EMI studio in the middle of nowhere and making an album, whereby we didn't plan it to do it that way, but two of the guys didn't turn up, and we ended up doing it. Paul on drums, me on guitar, and we did a whole nother thing that we didn't plan. So that's what happens. You just go with the flow. Because, you know, you really want to get something finished. We know if we would go together to write songs, we would always come out at the end of that little session with a song. We wouldn't just leave something in the air, you know. You set yourself goals, and that's what you do.
you're in that rarefied air with Paul in that he doesn't have a lot of musicians that he let into his core. He didn't let a lot of people come in to write songs with him, and he didn't have people singing lead on certain tracks on these Wings albums, and you have all of those accolades.
Well, he encouraged me to do that. As much as he didn't want to be the forefront, he had to be, but he wanted to get me involved from that point of view as well. After all, I was the lead singer with the Moody Blues and the only guitarist. So he tried to pull out as much of that in me, all the way through. But he's just much more prolific in a sense. But when I could have walked away from Wings to do that myself, I found myself writing a lot easier and a lot faster and, more volume of songs because of it. It was easy for me to just go off and write songs after that. It was a great, great experience because he's like an older brother who pushed me along into doing things, So it was good.
In a number of ways, Denny, Wings was, dare I say, more successful than the Beatles in that Paul knew the business at that point. So it was more lucrative. You enjoyed tremendous amounts of album sales and sold a lot of concert tickets. I saw that first Wings tour of America, and talk about being tight. It was extraordinary. And that had to be for you to walk out on stage into these gigantic arenas, the big rock star feel. That was all of it right there, right?
Yeah. But again, we'd learned all that in the early days of knowing how to sound good on stage without all the technology. You didn't have monitors, it was basically you had to be good as a band. Well, technology, bigger arenas, it just expanded into, that tightness. It's like the internet now, you can find anything on Google. There's so much more out there, easier access to everything. But in the same token, it's all down to one simple fact. You either can go in front of an audience just with a guitar. If you can't do that, then all the technology in the world isn't going to make you any better. You see what I mean? It's just a sign of the times. But when we were starting out, we only had like a small selection to choose from. It wasn't that accessible. That's why I said, we got our music, a lot of it, from the American Forces Network in Germany through Radio Luxembourg. So nowadays, you can find out what you want. But it's still down to the talent is still there with the young people. There's still talented people out there. And it's become kind of trendy. They all kind of use the same equipment and it's all like on that level. But as I say, it's still down to whether they're actually, good talent on their own. And there's plenty of that around. That doesn't change. It's always the same.
Denny, tell me if I read this right. On the morning of the day that Beatles manager Brian Epstein died, you went to his house, rang the doorbell, you wanted to meet with him, but he was already dead inside the house from a drug overdose. Is that true?
I get mixed up with that, and I don't know whether it was a drug overdose. I think it was just kind of, medication. But the fact is that I don't really like to comment on that too much. All I know is that we had to, I get the dates mixed up, but we had to have a meeting with him about something, and we went round there, all the lights were on. We went down a club, came back, the lights were still on. Whether it was actually that night, I'm not sure, because I get corrected on a lot of this stuff, because it's all a bit vague. But, I'd already done the show for Brian at the Savile Theatre with Jimi Hendrix around that time. But I'm terrible with dates. I mean, it's just the way it is. But it was something similar to that. And we were in contact with him a lot at that time. I mean, I wanted to get out my contract and he'd just let me go out of it because he was by then managing us. I wanted to just say, oh, well, I'm going to go off and do something on my own. He says, no problem, So, yeah, but I don't think it was exactly that night. But that was one night where we were meant to go in and we didn't. But I think I'll mix that up, though, to be honest with you.
Okay, tell me if this is true, that Wings stopped and disbanded after Lennon's death because Paul didn't want to tour after that.
No, I don't think that's the answer to that. Because we went out and did some more albums after that. I was in the studio with Paul the day after John died because Paul wanted to come in and just, keep working, keep his head together. He didn't want to sit at home, I suppose. And, you got to remember, John was kind of a friend of mine too. And so we were pretty much affected by that. The security had to be heightened. There was a lot of, concern about that. The main thing was, of course, it forces you to go on, not stop, So we just weren't at the time, in that place where we wanted to go on tour. We'd already kind of done that. We were in a recording situation. But no, we would have just gone back out and done something else. In fact, we did later on. So it didn't stop touring because of that.
There is an event next month at Carnegie Hall, the music of Paul McCartney, that you are participating in. Can you tell us about that?
I can only tell you what I know, and I knew about it, but I didn't know I was going to be on it. So yeah, it's true. But I'm glad I am. They wanted me, and I said yes. So my friend Christopher Cross is on it. I also know Graham Nash quite well, or from the past. I'm looking forward to it because of the lineup of people that are doing it. I just did a Beatles-based tour with Christopher, Todd Rundgren, Joey Molland, and a few others, Jason Sheff, whereby, we were doing Beatles songs and our own songs and dedicating 2 albums of the Beatles to that show. But again, I don't do too much of that. But it's great to sort of be, part of the scene and to be invited to come out and it's like it's a charity thing too. So that's all the more reason. But Paul is a great writer. He deserves all of that. They've done these shows before with Dylan and Joni Mitchell and stuff like that. So the fact that it's Paul, obviously they wanted me on it. So I just got added to it, and I'm looking forward to it.
And I assume you and Paul are on good terms over these years?
Sure, man.
Yeah.
I don't talk about that stuff. I'm just saying, we still talk. We just talk about this and that. The COVID thing was a big thing because everybody was off the road, and he was off the road when I was off the road, and we talked about that and couldn't wait to get back out there and do it. General things and a little bit of. We're going to re-release the Buddy Holly album that I did with him at some point, and that was a little bit of business we talked about. But come on, I don't go into all the details about anything really. It's just to know that we are still in communication. I've actually written a song called "Below the Waterline," which I did last night, and people love it, even though they've never heard it. It's never been recorded. But they love it because it's kind of the story of the way we are now, or our relationship, if you like. Yeah.
All right, cool. And Denny Laine is on tour right now. You can find out where those tour dates are by going to his Facebook page or Instagram. Denny, always a pleasure.
Thank you, Garry. I enjoyed it. Yeah, you're getting just a few stories out of me.
All right.
Nice. Very nice.
And he's got the accent that I use, him doing Paul McCartney. That's my way of doing a British accent. That's the way we did it. That's how it is. Now, I don't know if you heard that. The tone went off right as he said that he was in the studio with Paul the day after Lennon was killed because Paul wanted to take his mind off it that way. And the tone goes off. Okay, there it is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, interesting to talk to these guys because imagine the stuff they saw. And I was with, first of all, I was with Denny at a Paul McCartney concert about 7 years ago. John Doolan from Bettenhausen Automotive invited both of us because John and Denny have become friends. Denny performed at Bettenhausen Automotive a number of years ago. And we were at the concert watching Paul, and I'm standing next to Denny talking to him as Paul is playing on stage, and he was there at one point. That had to be a little weird.
But the way he, we think of Paul McCartney, he's thinking of his friend Paul.
Yeah,
you know,
because they all
we
grew
don't
up
talk
together.
about that stuff. We just talk about,
Right.
you know, regular
Yeah.
life because it's just him and Paul. That's
Right.
so
It's just
cool.
it doesn't have the same gravitas, if you will, the way we look at it, because they just grew up together and they
Right.
became famous and this and that, and that's the way it was. And bada boop, bada beep.
Play
But
some
that
guitars
story,
in front of a crowd. Yeah.
yeah, in front of 30,000, 40,000 people, bada boop, bada beep. That story about Brian Epstein is on either Wikipedia or somewhere. That's where I saw it. And the story that's out there is he went to Brian's house, rang the doorbell because he had a meeting he wanted to have with him. And Brian was already dead inside the house from the suicide. So that, if that in fact happened in that timetable, that's one of those weird moments where, whoa.
I think the interesting time, Garry, having watched the interview a bunch of times to do the edit to put it up today, is if you noticed his body language, he went completely arms crossed for the next set of questions after that Brian Epstein story. And then he relaxed again and went back into more pleasant, happy chit chat with you.
Yeah. Well, he's a nice guy, and he is finishing up this tour he's doing, the solo acoustic tour. And if you're in the Chicago area, he's at the Chicago City Winery on Sunday. And then you can go to the Instagram, Facebook, Denny Laine pages and find out where else he's going to be as he wraps this up this month. And again, Carnegie Hall next month with a whole lineup of people doing a tribute to Paul McCartney.
You got some stories out of me.
Got some stories. I don't know if I remember it that way, but he was the lead singer of the Moody Blues' first hit, Go Now, at the age of 20.
Amazing.
And Paul McCartney was done with the Beatles at the age of 30. Imagine all that happens and you're only 30. Oh my God.
And the fact that they're still plugging along. Thank God, you know, it didn't take them over.
Yeah, I know they're trying to kill the boomers. I know they're trying to kill us. But they're not going to.
Rest in peace, Raquel Welch.
Yeah.
Miss Fussy Britches, as she was.
Fuzzy Britches from Shawshank. And I was listening to Satellite today, and the guy comes on, the DJ, and he does birthdays, as we have talked about on this program. They do lists and birthdays, and he must have done 25 celebrity birthdays. Okay. And then he played Wings with a little luck. And I was thinking about the dynamic of Lennon and McCartney. It was funny, and you know this if you followed their career at all, where Paul had the uplifting, everything's going to be good, everything's positive lyrics. And then when he would show those lyrics to John, John would go, here's an example. It's getting better all the time, Paul says. And then Lennon goes, can't get much worse. And that was the percussion. And with a little luck, and all the Wings songs are all uplifting and silly love songs. Everything's positive. With a little luck, it'll all work out. And there was no Lennon to go, I don't know, it might not work out. I mean, that was the beauty of their relationship.
I used to be cruel to my woman. I
would beat her.
Beat her and kept her away from the things that she loved. Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
I know.
Totally not
you
Paul.
hear those lyrics. Right. That sounds a little Lennon-y. And that's the dynamic they had. Paul would bring the whole, oh, everything's good. And then John go, not so much. And that's what made it work. Ah, boy. Okay. We have a few things to do here. We're going to give away stuff, and then you have a few stories.
Should we set that up before we thank our fine...
let's get the phrase that pays in there.
There you go. And with that, we got an Oh Yes t-shirt because they are now our house band. We haven't heard them on
not yet
the show
maybe
yet,
St.
but they're
Patrick's Day,
coming
but
hopefully. So
they've sent some
happy
swag.
birthday again to Brian, who is their bass player. So oh yes.
All right. And
we obviously have the ball liquor.
We've
got the last wine condom with the reservoir tip. There will be other wine condoms. For some reason, my cat has decided to claim the bag. Oh, fun. Let go, Angus. And so let's reach in. And
it's funny to see the light catch the cat's eyes. They just light up.
His eyes.
His eyes. He's got cat's eyes.
He was in the bag of fun for a while, but now he's just playing. Yeah. Cocktail umbrellas.
Oh,
woo. There you go.
Those. Yes.
So how's that for a prize package?
All right. How about hashtag wings? Let's do
Sounds like a
hashtag
deal.
wings and make it simple. Hashtag wings. put it in the comment section, and then the computer will pick randomly somebody. If you have won recently, please let somebody else win. All right. Okay, what do you have?
Let's see here. Old school technology and, of course, being high were the undoing of a car thief in Pennsylvania. I shouldn't have said of course, but you'll understand as we go on. When officers in Clearfield got a call about a stolen vehicle, it didn't take them long to track it down. Just blocks from where it was taken, they saw and heard a Chevy matching the description of the stolen car, grinding its gears and repeatedly stalling out. The driver, identified as Jordan Graham, claimed he had just dropped off his daughter at her aunt's, but his story quickly fell apart. In addition to being unable to operate the car's manual transmission, Graham was also unable to produce proper identification or pass a field sobriety test. He later admitted to smoking meth and is now facing multiple felony charges.
There it is. That old meth coming to roost.
Boy.
Yeah.
Parents and students alike are calling for an end to quote-unquote punishment haircuts in Thailand. The topic gained prominence after a teacher was accused of cutting off the hair of at least 100 students as they sat row after row on the floor of a school in Phetchabun province. Their offense, having hair that was deemed just a little too long. Even Thailand's education minister described the incident as inappropriate. Haircut rules, like the one being enforced here, were first enacted in the 1970s because of those ragamuffin Beatles, but they have steadily been falling out of favor ever since.
So this teacher lined these kids up, and shaved, did a baldy sour on all of them?
On 100 kids at one time. Yeah. That'll teach them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And kind of a sad story here out of California. Well, I don't know. Karma, a man attempting to steal a catalytic converter off an SUV in California was run over and killed when the owner of the vehicle took off without realizing there was someone underneath. The driver had been asleep at the wheel, parked and asleep, but was apparently roused by the theft going on below. She started up the car and began to drive away when she felt that strange bump. She called 911 as soon as she put two and two together. The would-be thief was rushed to the hospital, but was pronounced dead on arrival.
Okay, what are the chances the driver is asleep in the car and this mope decides to steal the catalytic converter from that car? Apparently doesn't see there's somebody asleep in the car, or thought they're asleep, I'll steal the catalytic converter?
Of all the cars you could choose, you might want to pick one that is unoccupied. Well, he won't be doing that again.
What is my bumper sticker? Karma has everybody's address.
And in this case, boy, did it ever.
Oops.
Do we want one more?
It's up to you.
Penises are getting bigger. The average length of a human penis.
But we want to talk about stories. You just want to do personal talk?
I just want to.
Okay. All right.
I just like saying penis. But they're getting bigger. They've grown 24% over the last 30 years. Don't blame gravity. Researchers still don't know what's causing the change, though. It's actually confounding, since the environmental changes that are reportedly leading to lower sperm counts should probably coincide with a decline in length, but here it's just the opposite. So they say more study is required.
I see the top of Angry Mama's head coming up. Is that
I don't know. No, I just grabbed her.
All I can say to that story, Leslie, is whew. Good. Good news.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's like new penises or whether existing penises are growing too.
Classic. No.
Classic. So whatever.
All right.
Yeah, you can just lie easier, I guess.
Yeah, they're getting bigger. That's good. We're going in the right direction. All right, let's hit the computer, Alan, and give stuff away. Ready to go? Here we go. You want to say hello to somebody?
I do. John F., you won a couple of weeks ago. Still haven't claimed your prize. It's here. It's waiting.
Come on, John F. Patty won. Hey, Patty.
There you
go, right, Patty. Alan, tell her what to do.
Patty, email to Garry Meier Show at GarryMeier.com or text 773-888-2157. Regular charges apply. Provide your name and address so that Leslie can mail out the bag of fun prizes to you and whatever else Angus left in that bag.
All right. I saw in the comment section that Denny's appearing somewhere else in the Chicago area tomorrow night at the Arcada Theater. Is that in suburban Chicago?
St. Charles? Is that
St. Charles, Illinois? All right,
Arcada?
go to the Instagram, Facebook pages of Denny and you'll find out. But that came up. I saw that. All right, that's all. That's a little extra there. We had notified the affiliates. We're good with them. So we'll do this again on Monday. Thank you for listening. Take the complimentary cannoli coming down the aisle. It's delicious. Chocolate bits. I like those. Okay, what about the schnauzer?
Funny you should mention that because I was thinking, based on Jenna's drink today, I would drizzle a little chocolate on the schnauzer. That would be kind of nice.
Yeah. Twist my arm. 3 in the green. Gear is down. Flaps are down. Thanks for watching. And have a great weekend. The GarrForce has landed.
Good night, and have a pleasant tomorrow.
If you like that, I got other stuff I think you're going to like. This is the GarrForce.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Yeah.
And please, please, please tell your friends and family to like and subscribe too.
YouTube.
More eyeballs. It's a good thing.
Subscribe to the GarrForce Live YouTube channel. That's what you should do. That's where we gather. Boom. Shakalaka.